Hey everyone, welcome to Princess of Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with my blind reaction to the Ron Clark story. This is a donation reward for Isabella, so thank you as always. Um, yeah, it seems like you consistently give me movies that I've never even heard of for rewards, which, by the way, I'm not complaining about. I want to make that clear. Um, it's just, this is something I have never even slightly heard of. Um, and so I don't know what to expect from it at all. The Ron Clark story, the only thing that title tells me is that maybe it's based on a true story. Because usually, if a movie is called something like that, just anything kind of within that style of title, it usually means it's based on a true story. Not always, but usually. The name doesn't sound familiar at all. Nothing about it sounds familiar. I don't know what this could be in any way, shape, or form. All I know is that this movie came out in 2006 and that it is free on YouTube. So, hey. Um, yeah, I don't know what to expect from this at all. I don't know who's in it. I don't know what it's about. I don't know. All I know is that it's, again, from 2006, it's about an hour and a half, and I decided, we do a lot of Venom's reactions because he requests a lot of stuff. Why not get to one of these this week? So, yeah, I don't know what this is going to be, but let's find out. When the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, or to the movie, rather. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. Jesus, this lighting. It's not even just the light on my face, but it's also like the sun is like shining so directly into my eyes, and it's ugh. Like if it was just if it wasn't bothering my eyes like this, it wouldn't be as bad. Sorry about this. It's just when I was able to record this today. So let's talk about this movie though. Uh, yeah, I mentioned this reminded me of another movie called The Freedom Riders, which stars Hilary Swank and is basically about the same kind of thing. A teacher comes into this school, takes on a class of troubled kids, and learns about them, helping them better themselves and, succeed. Freedom Riders was a lot more intense, I guess you could say. There was a lot more intensity, a lot more darkness to it. The students were also older; they were high schoolers, but it was also based on a real life story of a teacher named Aaron Gruel who helped a class of troubled teens succeed when they felt the world was against them. It's a movie that came out apparently about a year after this in 2007, and it's a little bit longer than this one. This was about an hour and a half. Freedom Riders is 2 hours. It also stars the likes of Patrick Dempsey in it. It's a really amazing movie. One that has made me cry pretty much every time I've seen it. And this movie got close. It got me teary-eyed. It definitely hit the same kind of feels, the same kind of vibes, the same kind of right spots. The biggest difference is, again, this was a lot lighter. Um, There's also the little side plot with him and Marissa, which I don't entirely think was necessary. But I mean, if that really happened, and like in reality, if that's also based on the true story, I guess there's no harm putting it in here. It just felt like it distracted a little bit. And kind of going with the fact that Freedom Writers is longer, I felt this also kind of needed to be a little longer to flesh out some of the kids a little bit more. Um, that's just me though. That's just me. Matthew Perry was absolutely fantastic in this. He was definitely the star of the show, really shining in his role here. Again, I think the only thing I've seen him in, at least I can think of off the top of my head, is Friends. Um, but I obviously know of him, like even just beyond that. I mean, he during his life was like big into charity and whatnot, and his recent passing was a really big loss for Hollywood and in general. Like it's horrible. He was way too young to go, and he'll definitely be remembered for all of the great roles that he's played, including this one. For me, at least, I will definitely remember him for this. Um, yeah, he really wasn't that old. Like, let me see here if I can find that real quick. I think he was only in his 50s. Yeah, he was 54 years old. He was still pretty young. And apparently he died from drowning too, which is really a terrible way to go. And it just sucks that it was like just a an accident basically that caused his passing. But let's talk more about the movie. So yeah, like with Freedom Riders, again, we have this class of troubled kids, and we get to know them and their different living situations. Like I said, though, it is a lot lighter than Freedom Riders. And Freedom Riders, a lot of the kids are going through a lot heavier stuff. The heaviest we have here is Tayshawn, who at the end gets kicked out of like his foster situation with the horribly abusive guy. And luckily things are fixed. Clark helps find him a new situation and helps get things into a much better place for him. But it's without question that he had the worst of it. But a lot of these kids had a lot going on for them that was giving them this troubled life. Like Shamika dealing with the fact that she had to basically care for her siblings while her mother worked all day, which wasn't fair to her. That's not fair for a kid to have to go through. It's not her job to raise her brothers. God, that is like so annoying. It's not her job to raise her brothers. She shouldn't be given that task. She's 12 years old, for God's sake. But unfortunately, there's a lot of situations where it's like that. A single parent has to work the entire time. So, like, a teenage kid has to take care of their siblings to, you know, make things work. And it's terrible. No one should be put in that situation. But, you know, America, land of the free to be abused and manipulated and mistreated and everything. This country sucks. this, I'm sorry. I just that shit bothers me. That kids are put through shit like this and turn to shit like drugs and stealing and all when they're young. Speaking as someone who, you know, did bad stuff when I was a kid myself, so I'm speaking kind of from experience. Luckily, not to the point that any of them were. And part of that, if I'm being honest, is privilege because I am white. Like, there's a lot that I can't understand from that angle that a lot of kids of color go through because of the color of their skin, which is fucked up beyond reason. And it's sad that it still happens in 2023 to this day. Um, that wasn't like a huge focus of this film. Like that's a bigger focus in Freedom Writers, but it definitely was part of this. It definitely was included in here. It just wasn't as strong of a theme as other movies have portrayed it. And I don't know like how accurate this was to the real life situations. I don't know like if it was toned down from how it was in real life or if this is kind of how it was. I don't know. But it's still like kids shouldn't have to go through this shit. Uh all the young actors did a great job. They really sold their roles really well. Even when you see like them changing and everything, like Shamika hugging and begging Mr. Clark to stay after she thinks she might have accidentally gotten him fired. And you see, of course, Tayshawn at the end just breaking down after being beaten senseless. It's like the young actors did a fantastic job. They really sold the emotion here. Um, I I really appreciate when these movies can get just some really strong young actors and actresses who really nail their performances and all of the emotion that comes with them. Because it helps sell the film. It helps sell the themes and ideas of it. Um, yeah, it was really, really nice to see, though. I feel like the movie skipped around quite a lot, like in terms of like, oh, let's skip ahead a few days, a few months, or whatever. Um, I felt like it could have calmed down on skipping through periods of time a little bit. Um, like for example, I feel like the part where Mr. Clark was sick was kind of just rushed through a little bit. It could have been like focused on a little more, and that kind of goes in time in tune with the entire length of this film. I feel like a movie like this should be a little longer because all of the jumping around in terms of time and everything just kind of makes it kind of makes it feel a little rushed at points. And I just feel like it could be better in that regard. But honestly, that's my only real big complaint here. I really enjoyed this. I thought it was a really, really heartfelt, heartwarming movie. And I'm glad that I checked it out because I've never heard of this before. I never would have checked this out before. So thank you, Isabella, for donating for this. Tell me in the comments below, what did you think of this film? And for now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.